So the iPhone 15 just launched, you've been saving up money in a sinking fund because you've been planning to get this new iPhone, you walk to the store, you're ready to buy it, and then the cashier asks you, do you want to pay by cash or installment? Today, I'll be talking about the pros and cons of both methods so that you understand and you can choose which one is best for you. By the way, slight detour, but I've noticed that the iPhone 15 models have really started to get more expensive. The iPhone 15 Pro model starts at 5,499 ringgit, whereas when I bought my iPhone 13 Pro, it was only 4,899 ringgit, so that's a 600 ringgit difference. Basically, this is down to the Malaysian ringgit depreciating against the US dollar. Back then, in 13 September 2021, $1 was around 4.1 ringgit, whereas today, $1 is 4.7 ringgit. So yes, that is why the iPhone 15 is getting more expensive. Anyway, going back to the topic of today's video, should you buy the new iPhone 15 with cash or installment? By the way, these pros and cons that I'll be sharing works for basically any big purchase that you want to make and not just the iPhone. First off, I feel like I need to say this, but regardless of which payment method you want to go for, you should have the cash ready to pay for it upfront already. So if let's say the iPhone model that you want to buy is 5,000 ringgit, then you should have 5,000 ringgit in cold hard cash ready to buy it. If you don't, then stop watching this video and go save up some cash first. Some of you may think, what's the point of taking the installment if you already have the cash upfront? Well, there are some other benefits to it, and I'll get into it when I get into the installment part. I really don't suggest taking an installment just because you want to manage your cash flow or you can't afford an upfront payment, because it makes sense if you're making a big purchase like a house or a car. But for an iPhone, I mean, there's so many other phone models out there. If you can't afford an upfront payment, then maybe you should just buy a cheaper phone. Having an iPhone is nice. I love my iPhone. But you know what's nicer? Being financially secure. So if you've got the cash ready to go, let's get into our two options. I'll start off with the benefits of paying cash and why you might want to consider paying for the iPhone with cash upfront. And they are pretty straightforward. The first benefit of paying with cash is pretty obvious, and that is you won't have any extra debt to take on. So I've made videos about this in the past, I've said this in my social media as well. Taking on loans is not necessarily a bad thing. Rich people use it all the time to, make use of good rates. But I do acknowledge that some people just want peace of mind of not having any debt, and some people maybe are even on debt-free journeys. That is completely understandable. Maybe it's not the most optimal way to do things, but at the end of the day, mental clarity, you can't put a price on that. The next benefit of paying with cash is that it's a lot more simple to manage. So right after you leave the store, right after you make your payment and take your iPhone, you're basically done. You don't have to think about things like how much you gotta pay, where you're gonna pay to, how long is left on your loan, and stuff like that. Basically, make the payment, enjoy your iPhone, and you don't have to worry about anything else other than the iPhone breaking, I guess. The final benefit of paying for the iPhone upfront with cash is the most important one in my opinion, and that is it helps you stay financially disciplined because it ensures that you stick to your budget. If you take an installment option, you can make mistakes. You can make mistakes like maybe you forgot to make a payment or you missed a monthly payment and then they'll start charging you interest and stuff like that. Whereas if you pay cash, there's literally no mistakes that you can make other than maybe buying the iPhone in the first place. Just kidding, I love my Apple products, I have a bunch of them. Also, if you go for the installment option and let's say you have that cash saved up already, right? But you take an installment so you keep that cash in your bank account, you might look at your bank one day and think, I have some extra money. Maybe I should buy AirPods or an Apple Watch or other stuff, So this is also potentially a problem by taking an installment plan, but there are ways for us to manage this cash properly so that it's a bit more out of sight, I guess. And I'll share that more once we get into the installment part, which is basically right now. So installment, to me, there's really only one benefit to taking it for buying an iPhone. Technically, yes, taking installments will give you some extra benefits like, it helps you manage your cash flow, it gives you more flexibility when you're making larger purchases. But like I said earlier, this is a phone that we're talking about. If we're talking about like really large purchases like home renovation, a car or stuff like that, then yeah, by all means go for a loan. Most people do that anyway. But here we're talking about an iPhone. If you can't afford an iPhone's upfront payment, then maybe you should consider getting a Samsung, an Oppo, whatever cheaper phone there is out there. They're all pretty great anyway. Save up and maybe a few years down the line, you can buy the iPhone 20. But if you've got the cash saved up and ready to go and you want to know what the benefit of going installment is, basically it gives you an opportunity to make some extra money. But the catch is it must be a 0% installment. So if the bank or the store charges you any interest for taking an installment, then to me, forget about it, just pay by cash. For most people with a credit card though, you should be able to get a 0% installment. I did a quick Google search for an iPhone 15 and I found machines offering some 0% installment plans offered by many banks out there. For example, Maybank is offering a 36-month loan at 0% interest. So if you've got a credit card from one of these banks here, then here's what you can do to save some extra money. For ease of calculations, let's say that the phone that you want to buy is 5,400 ringgit and you take on a 36-month loan. So with this method, basically to maximize your profits, you want to go for the longest loan tenure that you can possibly get. But if you don't feel comfortable with it, then by all means go for a shorter one. So with that amount, 5,400 ringgit phone, 36-month loan, your monthly payments should be 150 ringgit per month since they're not charging you any interest or any fees. What you're going to do is, you're going to take the installment and you're going to take the entire 5,400 ringgit and put it into something like Amanah Saham or money market funds. Basically, any investments that are considered super safe and don't fluctuate in price. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take out 150 ringgit every month from the investment and we're going to put it to paying off the loan. At the end of 36 months, we should have paid off the entire 5,400 ringgit. The thing is, as we withdraw a bit and a bit and a bit every month, the balance that is still sitting in the investment will generate us extra returns. So assuming a 4.3% return, which is what Versa Cash is giving right now, based on my calculations, we will have an extra 371 ringgit at the end of 36 months. I know it's not a huge amount, but it's still some extra money. And if your credit card has some cashback offers, like for example mine, I use the FC Barcelona card from Maybank, they give a 1% cashback up to 50 ringgit, so that's an extra 50 ringgit that we've managed to save from making this purchase. So the key here, if you want to take on this method, is that you must stay disciplined. Firstly, don't put the cash in a bank account because one, like I said, you might think that you have some extra money and then you might decide to spend it. And two, banks don't give you any returns on your cash. So there's literally no point to doing this. And if you put your money into an investment like money market funds or Amanah Saham, don't be tempted to withdraw that money and go buy some other stuff. Leave it completely to just paying off the iPhone. If possible as well, try not to mix up your funds because it can get confusing. I'm doing something like this, a similar concept for another loan, and I put it all into Versa Cash I. So I wanted to put some extra cash into Versa Cash I as well, but I didn't want to complicate everything and mix up my funds, so I kept everything separate, and Versa Cash I portfolio is mainly for my loan. If you want to sign up for Versa, use our link or our code, I'll leave it down below, and you'll get 10 ringgit once you invest 100 ringgit. So those are the pros and cons of buying an iPhone either by cash or by installment. The iPhone is really expensive, I would say, but I wouldn't say don't buy it because, at the end of the day, we all have to manage our own finances and we should be rewarding ourselves sometimes if we have the means to. You just gotta decide if you can afford it and then which payment method you want to use. If you want simplicity and peace of mind, then go for cash, just pay for it upfront, don't have to think about anything else. But if you want to maximize returns, if you want to generate some extra cash, then consider trying the installment method. Thanks for watching this video to the end, guys. Let us know in the comments, are you still buying the iPhone 15 even though it has gotten a lot more expensive? And if you are you gonna pay by installment or cash? Give us a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.